Buttons pressed. There we go. It is the round of 8 for the Dragon Invitational number 4. Once again, guys, I want to stress, Dragon is sick. He's aware this is going on. It's not like we're like stealing the cast from under him. He asked us to continue casting without him today, so hopefully he feels better sooner than later. At any rate, spawning here in the top left corner of the map, he just came off of a pretty solid game number 1. It's going to be the blue Terran player center. And his opponent in the bottom right, the red Protoss. A little bit hard to get a hold of today, but we did get him nonetheless. It is going to be Daisy. Okay, so before we even get into the thick of it, Daisy, there was not a lot of pressure to deal with, but those two Hellions. Those two Hellions didn't devastate a probe line, and killing 8 workers is hardly the end of your life. One of the big things about it too is that, as we saw, okay, maybe it puts you off a little bit, but it didn't really affect his build. Engagements could have been better perhaps a little bit, but center also hit at a really nice timing. I think one of the problems for Daisy though is, like, despite the stalkers that he tried to throw at center's base last game, there wasn't really a lot of pressure outside of that. There's just one moment where it was like, oops, I lost my bunker. Maybe almost could have lost the game had the stalkers killed the tank. Debatable because SCVs could have killed the few stalkers that remain, but the bottom line is, when we see a lot of these matchups, some of the things that make the biggest differences for Protoss players, I feel, is not rushing directly to Colossus. Like, obviously you want to get that tech path, and that's what you'll rush to in that regard, tech-wise, but getting a Warp Prism before Colossus is something we've been seeing a little bit in these matchups. Not to carry around High Templar and do Storm Drops or anything so cool, but just warping Zealots. I mean, the thing for Center is there's nothing to keep him from pushing out. Had there been a Warp Prism, say, in the natural base of Center, warping, say, 4 or 5 Zealots, then Center all of a sudden has to turn around with his army and he can't push. And while that's going to cost you a couple minerals as a Protoss player, as long as you don't lose that Warp Prism, the pressure is going to be there constantly, and Center's never going to push out until he's already got Vikings. At which point then, as a Protoss player, you've got those Colossus that you need. You've got that army count, that value that is so critical. But of course, one of the biggest endgame goals above all else is getting not just Colossus, but also, those High Templar. I'm kind of oohing because I'm trying to remember who it was. Someone did this. Someone did a similar thing where they hit a probe up here in King Stage Jungle, but it was versus Zerg. I can't remember for the life of me just who it was, but sneaking a pylon back here is one of the few places you'll almost never scout. I mean, really, not even with Overlords do check this place, so there's no reason for a Center to check it with a Reaper. So seeing that it looks clear on his end, looks like he might just move out. Oh, sorry, one second, guys, gotta spawn a dragon. Sorry about that, just you wanted to know how things are going. I said good. This looks like he came back from his AFK exodus. But, alright, so the Reaper, I don't know, it's looking for pylons. Up at the top right, very notorious spot here. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up sending it over here before going to his opponent's base. But I would kind of like if Center would just go to the base, get the scout, and then turn around and look for the pylons. Kills the probe, not too bad. Income graphs not working on this map either. This is why it's a beta feature, guys. I want to show you guys more cool data. Anyways, the Reaper does get up here, scouted by that pylon. The build placement here of Daisy is really nice, so the Reaper can't free flow through the mineral lines. Well, can free flow through the mineral lines, but if he does, he'll probably die. He will scout that Stargate though, and he's gonna lose the Reaper for it. Kind of sucks, but he gets the crucial information. Daisy not going to go for the cancel, but still invest in the Stargate is totally fine as well. We may end up having that situation where you just try and get the oracles out blindly one way or the other. I don't imagine that's going to be the case. Alright, so I think it's just going to be one oracle. I mean, we've seen instances where you have more than one, but a lot of that comes off the fact that Daisy, he already scouted there's going to be 2 Raxes down. If he invests in more than one oracle, then I don't know what he's planning to do with it. The idea a lot of the time with that oracle is like, okay, the first oracle can't kill all 6 Marines, but it usually kills 5. Then the second oracle comes in, and there's only 4 Marines to wait for it, and that's not enough, so it kills them and SCVs. Third oracle, rinse, repeat. And we've seen a lot of good Terran players lose the game to that specifically. Some that come to mind, of course, Joxy, Apocalypse, amongst others. People who are really good at their TVP. But Center's got more than enough production and more than enough Marines already out to actually deal with oracles should they come. So, I mean, he's probably going to have to deal with maybe 1 at most, but that's probably it. Let's see if he tries to go for a scout, does get picked off. Yeah, here comes the robot facility. So I think once again we're probably going to see Daisy play that more passive style of the game where you just try to tech up as quick as you can, get the Colossus out ASAP, all those wonderful things. But I do like the potential of the Oracle. You know, this is not exactly the Warp Prism harass I described earlier, but it's got at least the chance to do damage, whereas last game, you know, he wasn't doing anything. So it gets an SCV or two, gets a Marine, not too shabby. But Factory's still on the way. This +1 upgrade's already finished up, so the nice thing about Marines is they're pretty strong without stim if they got those weapon upgrades. Daisy, in the meantime, like I said, not investing in this anymore. I was kind of waiting to see if there might be a Phoenix as the follow-up. One really strong strategy we've been seeing Terran players struggle with actually is Phoenix Colossus. There's a select few who can deal with it well, but then there's some people who it's their Achilles heel, it's their weak point. We've seen Grubby beat some fantastically talented Terran players with this as well. Not to rag on him too much, but Joxy being another one of those categorically weak to that strategy. But I think in recent times we've seen him tighten up his build to it, and it's not been as big of an issue. But yeah, Stim's still not quite done yet, but all the production for Center finally picking up. A little bit delayed, but hardly the end of the world. Oh, hey, just so we get a bit of dull time here. Thanks for the cast. I'm at work, but I'll watch anyways. Ace, at what cost? $10 donation from Joecast. Thank you very much, man. You guys, it's always the same few of you that do it. I don't know. You guys are so nice. Thank you very much. I can't express my gratitude more. But, alright, the Oracle's going to see a lot of Marines move now. It's important that he Revelations these, so he doesn't quite get caught off guard by it, but of course he's a little bit scared of losing the Oracle should a Stim lunge forward. So, Daisy, as we see, controlling a little bit awkwardly at the moment, but he does have the capability to Revelation. I don't know why he's not doing it. Alright, whatever. Third base on the way. We are going to have Phoenix come out with this. So, this was something that's been a little bit delayed, but Phoenix Colossus is... Oh! Gonna lose the Oracle. But with Revelation going down, he gets a good idea of what's coming his way. He's got that Photon Overcharge if necessary. Force field on the ramp to make sure the Marines don't stim past it. This will pick up and go to the main. But this is where the Phoenix potentially start coming into play. One of the big things is he doesn't reveal this too soon. You know, he could have chased out those medevacs with that Phoenix, but chose not to very much so intentionally. And one of the things about this, guys, is Phoenix is really good at picking off medevacs. They're really good at Graviton beaming up the odd unit or two. We've all seen that before. But the second Stargate is what baffles me. What? Because if you go Phoenix, the idea is you get some, but you don't go mass Phoenix, right? Like, this isn't like playing versus Zerg. You don't go like 15 Phoenix count. So my assumption is like there's a little bit later tech. I want to make like the joke about carriers, but we've actually been seeing carriers a little bit. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. So we'll see what he decides to do with the second one. I imagine this is just for additional Phoenix production, because he is still investing in the Colossus and his ground tech. We don't see area weapon upgrades on the way or anything like that, but... Where is, okay, so it's got a cannon here. Just to help deter drops, I guess? Did make a cannon at the third? Oh, he did make a cannon at the third. Odd placement for it, though. I mean, Daisy just... What are you playing versus Zerg? Do you forget it's Terran? Like, I don't understand. Not that this build is horrible by any means, it's just a little bit odd. The Lich King Cave up here in the top left is gonna get passed by real quick. Shout out to Arthas. What's up, bro? High five. Meh. But Center's got a lot of troops to work with, but no drops actually going down. His upgrades are looking fantastic. Daisy normally at this point would want to be chrono boosting out of 2 forges if given the opportunity, but instead, all that gas is going to this massive amount of Phoenix. So, Marines have such little health, guys, that when you Graviton beam them up, they go down pretty quick. The other thing with the Phoenix, too, we didn't really touch on this before. For those who don't know, Phoenix actually beat out Vikings in just an A-move scenario. If the Vikings aren't kiting or trying to fall back behind the Marines or anything like that, so... One of the big things about the Phoenix count is they'll buffer for the Colossus. A lot of the times you see that biostim forward, but it's not Marauders and Marines shutting down the Colossus. No, it's the handful of Vikings that tend to be in the sky that are dealing all that additional damage. But pylons being placed around, so abilities to get around the army, possibly. But I really like the army count out of Center. I think he still doesn't have any clue about the Phoenix, though. Yeah, he's never been back for that second scout. Daisy was very, on purpose, not revealing this. This is kind of cool. I don't. This is gonna be such a surprise factor. Taking a fourth is so bold at this point too, but one of the big things is the second he sees those Vikings, the Colossus fall back and the Phoenix lunge forward. I just don't like how out of position it already is. As we see a couple volleys might go off, but you see this many Marines. He's pulling the boys. SCV's coming hand in hand with this. This all in might be hard to hold, but he still doesn't know about the Phoenix. This fourth base, I don't know if this was intended to be a fake or not, but it does get canceled. Falling back to what is possibly some cannons to defend as well as the photon overcharge. This natural base is also looking very exposed. Either way, these Phoenix are going to find a very weird spot in this game. There's a lot of them, but they got to tear through those Vikings before they can start graviton beaming anything into the sky. So, as we see start going to town here on the Vikings, going to take them out pretty quickly, but the Colossus also going down. Force Field's trying to keep the Marines back, but the Marine fire isn't what's so scary, it's the Colossus dying. Yeah, he's got a whole handful of Phoenix, but there's no way he graviton beams up every single Marine. And this is an all-in out of center, guys. If Daisy can hold, Daisy's in a good spot, but he loses power to the one Stargate that he had. It's not going to be a Void Ray coming out anytime soon. Starting to graviton beam up what he can, as much as he can. Phoenix is dealing a ton of damage, but there's so many Marines underneath this, and all these units only cost 50 minerals. The loss to the Nexus here at the third. GG's going to be called. Ladies and gentlemen, center will take the series 2-0 to start the day. This will put him forward